Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, anywhere you are in the world. How are you doing? I hope you all had amazing, fantastic week, and your weekend is gradually evolving into an enjoyable one. You are welcome to Business Analysis Simplified. Yay! And I'm yours truly, Ola Ofime. In each episode, we try to draw parallels between a business analysis technique, tool, or an idea or concept. We draw parallels between those ideas and everyday living. And I generally, we do this discussion with my BFF, my business partner, co-founder of PM Base Project Management and Business Analysis Success Enterprise. Blah blah blah. I gotta be able to talk this morning. So I am gonna go on my screen to pull her in so that we could get the conversation started. So I hope you all had a good week. I hope you did something amazing. Currently, believe it or not, I am in another part of Canada. Actually, I'm with KDO this morning. Of course, we're not gonna be together
Hey,
because we. Hi, KDO. How are you?
I'm good. And yourself?
I'm doing great.
I was saying, oh, it would be nice if I can join. I don't know what's going on.
Yes. Okay, you join. I mean, you joined now. 1 second. I'm just gonna grab something quickly so that
Mm.
you know what? Before I grab this something, how is my frame?
Oh,
I usually
yeah,
it's
I
good.
know. I know you're not in your regular location this morning.
Yes, I am in your location this morning, which is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
amazing, right?
It's good, but a little bit to the left.
To the left,
Tiny.
this left
Your
or
other
this other
left.
left?
This other left.
My other left, like that.
Okay,
How's that?
perfect.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Okay, so yes, how was your week?
Oh, it was good. I'm grateful it's over. Like
Ooh,
I just
uh,
like a new day. Like I believe that, we get to start again every day. Like once it's morning and then it's a new opportunity to begin again. Whatever failures of the past, we can try to fix it, correct it, learn from it, and move on. So
yes,
I don't know. I know it's weird, but I'm just super excited. Anytime it's a new week, the weekend, a new day, a new anything, just literally excites me. So
because the
I'm looking
opportunity
forward to.
to start again. Awesome. You're
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
forward to what? You were gonna say you're looking forward to something. Maybe
Oh
I
yeah,
could
yeah,
tag
yeah.
along.
All of stop playing silly. So we have an event this evening or this morning for ladies,
Yes.
planning the year 2024. So I'm really looking forward to that because
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too.
it's an in-person meeting where people sit down and actually strategize for 2024. So that is gonna be amazing. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Yes, I am looking forward to it too. And in case you are in Calgary area, please join us this morning. It's gonna be good. Okay, so the business
Yeah.
analysis technique we're gonna be talking about this morning is called item tracking. So
Mhm.
yeah, I know item tracking. I mean, it's just the phrase literally explains itself.
Yeah.
You are
Yeah.
tracking items, right? So it's a tool, a business analysis tool. Some say it's not specific to business analysis, but of course we use it as business analysts. We use it, and organizations use it too.
Yeah.
Generally, they use it to address concerns that could impact a project if it's a project or an initiative. And I just thought about it again that they even use it, organizations use it to track concerns in operations. So it's
Mhm.
not specific to projects and initiatives alone.
Absolutely.
They could use it to track concerns in operations. And so the adage that I provided when I was expanding a little bit on Wednesday, you remember every Wednesday we'll
Mhm.
talk about it, and then we'll do a simplified version every Saturday. So on Wednesday I talked about an adage that says an untracked issue is a silent storm. That is really big because if we're not actively tracking some of these issues or
Oh
these
yeah.
concerns, they can escalate pretty easily and quickly. and they could then blow up
Blow
like a
out of
storm, blow up,
proportion. Yeah.
right, and cause a larger problem. So we want to ensure that we are tracking issues, no matter how little.
Mm-hmm.
If it's in operations, I could already think of maybe support tickets. Like if your customers, your clients have uh, if you're providing a service to your clients and they submit tickets for you to be able to do to provide update or something
Mm-hmm.
to that service that that you're providing for them. If you don't manage those concerns progressively and monitor the progression of the issues, it could escalate pretty quickly. So let's talk about how a business analyst or organizations generally will use it for a project. So the way I explained is that first, when they receive those concerns, they would categorize them, because there are various categories that you could
Absolutely.
you could have for those items. You could categorize them as issues. You could
Mm-hmm.
categorize them as dependencies. You could
Mm-hmm.
categorize them as change request, anything
Yeah.
at all. Just group them. It could even be a risk, right? Categorize them as risk so that everyone on the project team members, begin to monitor it, the progression of how that item is moving. Because of course, at the beginning, when you categorize them, you put them in planned
Mm-hmm.
status, right? Or open status. And then when someone picks it up, because the next thing after you have categorized them is now to assess the impact of that. If it's a change request, to assess the impact of that change to the project.
Project.
Because at that point, I feel like the scope of the project would have been defined.
Oh yeah.
The resources would have been allocated to execute those
Each.
scope,
Yeah.
or to each item or each activities on the
Mm-hmm.
project. And so when a change request is submitted, you want to ensure that you assess the impact of that change request to the general project, right? You're assessing the risk, the potential changes in timeline. And once you affect timeline,
Oh yeah.
budget
Cost for sure.
will be impacted. That
Mm-hmm.
iron triangle constraints that you
Yeah.
have: time, scope, and budget. Once you impact
Yeah.
one, the
It's
other two
gonna
will be impacted as well. So you
absolutely.
want to assess that change request on the overall project eventually, and then you assign owners to
Mm-hmm.
the change request, right? Owners will be the one that would weigh the pros and cons of accepting the change, right? So it could be the steering committee, it could be an advisory board, it could be management team,
Yeah.
whoever is in that board, to assess that impact and then rule over it to say, okay, you know what? We could accommodate this change, or you know what? No, this is going to throw the
Mm-hmm.
timeline off totally. No, we throw it out. Would maybe address it at another time. So all those activities need to be done to the particular item,
Yeah.
and then see the progression at which it moves, and see it to conclusion,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want anything falling through the cracks
Oh yeah.
and then eventually picking through to be a monster towards the end of the project. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how organizations use it. They use it to manage changes effectively, and they use it to improve stakeholder satisfaction. So that's a lot of words. I'm going to hand it over to you now, KDO, and help us talk through how we could apply that technique to everyday living. Over to you, my
You
dear.
know what I was thinking as you were talking, and I was like, oh my God, this is why some people think that becoming a business analyst is so difficult because of all this big grammar. All I is, just pumping out there, spitting it out at us, and they're like, oh my God, it's a big world out there. And but these things are really, in reality, they are very simple.
They are,
I
yes.
mean, item tracking is something every single human being uses, or would have seen someone using, or should be using, as the case may
Mm,
be. Because that's how we live our lives, right? You want to check something as simple as going to the store to get groceries. You
yes.
know, you know that, I mean, even with that, there's usually, I don't know about some people, but for me, there's a time constraint. I want to be in and out of that store in so and so time. Then, of course, it's a budget constraint. You don't want to just spend all your money buying whatever. So, what does that tell you? You want to make a list. And this is where
Mm,
most grocery shoppers, or the grocery shopping itself is dead on arrival. Because when you go grocery shopping without a list, trouble is going to abound. Plus, if you go grocery shopping when you're hungry, oh my word. Plus, if you go grocery shopping with your child that is hungry, in fact, let's even leave the child alone. Whether they're hungry or not, it doesn't really matter. If you go grocery shopping with your kids without a list, there's going to be trouble for
Oh,
sure. You're
oh
going to
yes,
end up
that's a
with,
disaster for sure.
with a cart full of things you didn't plan to buy when you left the house, and then get home, you realize that the key items in the house, something is missing.
Right.
So item tracking right there, it's key. You want to have a list, you want to be, and then there's some things on, like typically in our house, every time somebody feels like something is missing, we have a list that we just put it on. So when it's time
That's
to know,
beautiful.
oh yeah,
That's a good
because
idea.
if I get there in the morning of the day to just go make a list, you're going to miss something. So everybody knows that list is there. The paper is there with a pen. Once something is missing or you check something, you can't find it, just put it on the list. So when it's time to go grocery shopping now, I look at the list and I wear my mommy cap and say, okay, this is needed. This is not needed. This is not essential. This
You
is
are
just a
right there and there. You are assessing. You are assessing. Oh, that's amazing. I like that. You're assessing the degree of need. Yeah, I
yeah.
like that.
So for this particular grocery shopping, will this thing make the list or not? Is it going to impact on the budget? Is it going to impact on the timeline? Particularly, we have different, we have different stores with carrying different things. So for instance, if my
Absolutely.
plan is to go to store A, maybe I want to go to Walmart, I'm not going to Real Canadian Store, but the things on the list has both
They
stores.
do.
And there's something that if I want to buy in Real Canadian Store, they typically have it in Walmart. They carry that brand, but there's a substitute. And for some things, you don't want the substitute, right? So I tell myself, if time is the constraint, I'm like, this one, we're not buying this week. It has to wait till next week. And trust me, nobody's going to die in this house because of lack of Cocoa
Nutella.
Pops, Nutella. Oh, somebody would think they're going to pass out without Nutella. Trust me, in my house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but things like that. So you've got to be able to assess, you've got to be able to qualify them. Can we fit this into this project, this particular project, without impacting on the time, on the scope, and then of course on the budget, right? So we do all of this item tracking, and then things that make the list, I transfer them into a new list and say Walmart, and then go shopping with whoever. And if I have the fortune, because I do not want to go negative this morning. If I have the fortune of going with any of the kids, I hand them the list.
Oh, like a responsibility. You've assigned the owner to that.
And
Oh, I like that.
yeah, so that's what I had them list. And they, okay, let's go. So they carry the cart and they keep running around. They got all the energy, so they keep running around, picking things, putting the cart, and then marking off as it's in
Checking
the
out.
cart. What I used to do back in the day when the kids were still small and I couldn't hand them the list is if I have to take them to the store, I say, once we get there and we get the cart, I'm like, keep your two hands on that cart. It doesn't leave the cart. I don't want you picking anything from the aisle, or else everything's gonna be fit. So the
Yeah,
thing is, we need to monitor things. We need to track things. And
yeah.
somebody might be like, "Ola and KD, you guys get real. Grocery shopping is the least of my problems. How can I really use this in other aspects of my life?"
I could think of one.
Let's go.
Uh, I just thought about appointment dates, right? Appointments, not necessarily, well, it could be date night with your spouse. It
Okay.
could be appointments for the kids. Because when the kids are a little younger, you would have different doctor's appointment
Oh
that you
yeah.
have to do. You will have school activities, events that could be outside the school time. You could have other activities, extracurricular
Yeah.
activities like swimming, like playing
Basketballing,
basketball or
basketballing,
yes. Oh yeah.
soccer,
Right.
skating,
So
all of those things.
everything combined, right? Or so let's even limit it to doctor's appointment and extracurricular activities. If you don't track those items, I generally will put it on the fridge so that everyone will see, whoever is taking one to one event and the other. We
All
have
the
that visibility.
stakeholders.
Yes, all all stakeholders concerned. Yes, we see it. There's visibility, there's transparency and then we're able to move things around, shuttle between one or the other, right? Because at times I remember that I have missed doctor's appointment for my sons before. They're like, oh shoot, what was I thinking? Because I didn't put it somewhere visible
Yeah.
for that constant reminder. So if you're thinking that grocery list is too trivial, you gotta track appointments. You gotta track family social events. For
Oh
instance,
yeah,
if you have
birthdays.
extended families, yeah, if you have extended families and each of them has one thing or the other coming up, birthdays coming up, right? Anniversaries coming up, right? All kinds of things coming up. If you don't track them and then address them per time, you just find that you begin to
Yeah.
uh, either break, there'll be constraints in the relationship because if you remember someone else's birthday
Yeah.
and you don't remember the other person's birthday, it
Nah,
will be
it's
like
not
you have
gonna look good.
preference over the other. So yeah, maybe that could be helpful to our
Oh yeah,
audience.
yeah,
Track
yeah, yeah. And
appointments.
for instance, if you have events you're planning, let's say you're planning a wedding, there's some list, there are some things on that list. You get the wedding gown, get the tuxedo if the guy is gonna wear tuxedo, get the hall, get the caterer, the baker, the cake baker, the hall decorator, all of those things you have. But there are some things that would impact that event that you have to keep your eyes on. For instance, let's say you guys had sat down, both family, and said, okay, this wedding we're inviting only 100 people. And 3 weeks to the wedding, all of a sudden you realize that your father or your prospective father-in-law and mother-in-law already have invited 75 people.
Well, extra, extra,
By
75
themselves alone.
extra.
Yeah. So, I mean, ideally, what you would want to say is, okay, both families 50-50. And by the time you get to both families, the couple themselves have people they want to invite. In my own case, my parents had more people than me. But again, you have the capacity of the hall is 120. You plan to invite 100 people. Now your mother and your father-in-law already have 75. That is already raising, all manner of red flags there.
Right.
There's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
The problem is not going to be the bride's wedding gown, because whether you have 1,000, 1,000,000, or two people at that wedding event, it's not going to make a difference.
Mm.
The suit that the husband is going to wear, the number of people is not going to impact it. But guess what? It's going to impact hall capacity. If 150 people come to a hall that can only take 120, problem. People might not even mind staying outside as long as, wait for it, there is food. But if you already told the caterer we're expecting 100 people, plan for 120,
Sorry.
and all of a sudden 150 people is showing up.
Well, yeah, yeah.
So food, drinks. In fact, the cake is okay. Worst case, they would eat fingernails
Thank
sized
you.
cakes.
Oh
Like,
wow.
what do they call them when we go to Tim Hortons?
Timbits.
Timbits. You're going to give them
Mm-hmm.
Timbits
Mm-hmm.
to eat, right? That's fine. But drinks, food, it's going to be a problem. Where are they going to sit? It's going to be. So those are the items you want to track and say, are we going to be able to make it with this event? Is it going to work? Should we need to expand our budget? Should we need to, I don't know, find a new hall or get something outside where people can sit, in the shade and be able to feed there? So those are the items you want to begin to track. In the relationship, you guys are already, in the home. What are the things that could quickly make things go wrong? Communication.
Mm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Communication. Big, big problem. If you guys are not communicating, you know that things are going to eventually go south. There are no two ways about it. If we're not talking, we're not going anywhere, right? We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So you want to, that is a key element of that relation, of any relationship, even amidst friends. Like my BFF and I, sometimes I'm like, it's been a long time that I spoke to Ola. And then we check, it was just like yesterday. I'm like, okay, okay.
Yeah.
But they say communication, I don't know, something is the soul of business. Punctuality, they say, is the soul of business.
Punctuality, I heard. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I don't know how valid that is, but I know that communication is the soul of relationships. Whether with your friends, your siblings, your parents, your spouse, whoever, communication is the soul of relationships. So I want to track that item. How often are we communicating? How are we communicating? How?
So you're saying plan to communicate
Oh yeah,
because there's some, yeah, I
yeah.
agree with that. Because there are some items that you don't just want to talk through on a peripheral, you want to go a little bit deeper, right? So if you tell your spouse ahead of time that, okay, so could we possibly talk about this a little more when we get back from work? Do
Mm-hmm.
you think that will work?
Yeah.
Or do you think maybe we could push this to the weekend because we really, really got to talk about this before
But
moving?
the key thing there is though is that we have already itemized what we're talking about. Not saying I want to
Mm.
talk to you and say, okay, what about? I'll see you later in the evening. I'm like, what? In fact, one of my kids cannot deal with that. Like if he will say, okay, mom, let's have that conversation right now. But if you tell him that, okay, so when you come back in the evening, we're going to have a conversation about the cleanliness of your room, for instance, then he knows what the conversation is about. The same thing with friends. Or tomorrow we're going to be talking, or when we're back from work, we're going to be talking about, how to manage our expenses. The other party already knows what that, but don't just say, oh, we're going to be talking. Say about what, when we come in the evening, I'll tell you about it. I'm like, what? So you ruin the entire day. This person is wondering, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? What are
But
we
there's
talking about?
elements of suspense,
Oh,
right? It could, I say, I
I'm
call it
I'm rolling
suspense.
my eyes.
I know, I
I'm
see,
rolling my eyes
and
at you right now.
I'm choosing not to. I'm choosing not to. Okay. Right. Okay.
So
So
yeah, we need to watch that. We
prepare
need,
them ahead of time to
yeah,
say this is what we're going
yeah,
to be
this
talking
is,
about. Yeah, and
and
don't go
like if
overboard.
don't
Like
exactly.
don't let that don't let that particular item now
Mm.
be tied to a million and one other items.
Oh
You
yeah,
said you're going to talk about this alone, talk about it, try and resolve it as best as possible, and then go to other things. The next time you pick one item because that way you're not overwhelming the other person. If it's
oh
your
yeah,
spouse,
oh
you're
yeah.
not overwhelming them with gazillion things
And they're like,
per
okay,
time.
so which one are we going to do in all of these things now, right? But it's all right. So we need to just watch it. You know that every morning it's a rat race in the house to get the kids out of the door.
Mm.
You want to think, what are the items that are causing delays every morning? I remember back in high school, then in the boarding house, they realized that in the morning, students were getting late from the boarding house to the school, to the
Mm.
assembly ground, to the breakfast and all of that. No, to the assembly ground because we had to do first lesson before we came for breakfast. So what they did was they realized that, okay, JS 1 to 3, have your bath the night before. So
Oh,
we'll take a shower the night before. Yeah. So in the morning, you're just waking up, brushing your teeth, and washing your face. So because ideally we have limited space in the washroom. Of course, the seniors are going to come there and and then the younger ones are going to be there waiting for their turn, like that. And they are the ones that are going to go late. They are the ones that are going to get punished, right? So they did that, and I think it really worked well because that way we're not contesting the washroom with the seniors anymore in the mornings, and then we just washed our faces, brushed our teeth, and then
I see. I see a flaw right there.
oh,
Of course, this is going to be a digression because in my mind, I'm already thinking this school already knew the number of students they're going to admit.
why not have
Why didn't
enough
they
washroom?
factor that into the building when they were building?
I know,
But
but Ola,
that's a
it's a
digression.
hostel. They can't
Um,
afford to have one washroom for each person. And some
I'm not,
people,
I'm
you
not
cannot
saying that.
factor in.
I'm not saying that.
Ola,
I'm not saying,
some people get the epiphany of their entire life while they are bathing. So they are there. Like they are
okay.
not in and out. So
Okay.
how do you factor those people in, right? You think an average human being, that's my own conclusion. An average human being is done in the washroom in 5 minutes maximum.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Average.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hmm.
I
I
already
yeah.
see. Am I throwing stones at you right now?
I don't know. Not directly at me, maybe to someone in my family. Oh, yeah, 5 minutes doesn't cut it at all. Mm.
So that's the problem. So what we're saying is in every aspect of our life, or in some aspect of our life that we know that we're struggling, maybe it's time to sit down and do that item tracking. Track what are the things that are causing these issues. Why am I always late for work? You know, what is it? You know that right now it's winter in Canada. You know it's when it snows in the morning. You know it's going to take you an extra 5 minutes if your car is outside and snowed on to clear it. So winters, maybe you want to wake up on the day it snowed, maybe like 10 minutes earlier so that you allow for that time. Or else you're going to get to work late every single time it snows. So little things like that. Right now, Christmas is coming. Some of us have still not yet started Christmas shopping. So I don't know. I need to put that on my priority list or else.
I thought we discussed that last week when we said some are early shoppers, some are late shoppers, some are middle, like right in the Christmas Day shopper. Because they get some excitement from shopping a day to Christmas.
Oh
There's
my
some people
God.
like that. Yeah, and you
Yeah.
can't fault them for
Okay.
it. That's how they
No,
are.
not faulting anybody, just saying let's item track so that we can live better lives. I think we've done enough on this item
Yeah.
tracking for today, guys.
Awesome.
Uh, it's
Yeah.
life can be easier when we focus on the important stuff,
Absolutely.
things that trip us, things that trip us. Let's focus on it. Let's do better with it so that our lives can progressively improve on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, and year-to-year basis. So let's go use this little nugget and make the best of our situation and of our life.
Absolutely. Okay, with that, we'll say join us in the next episode of Business Analysis Simplified. We meet here every Saturday. It's
Mm-hmm.
a date. It's a date. Item track it. Put it on your list of things
Yeah,
to do.
absolutely.
There's some things to
Absolutely.
do. I'm going to join these ladies every
Mm-hmm.
Saturday, right, to listen to how I could use some of the business analysis technique to better my life, to improve my family, to, improve my work, whatever it is you want to use it to use it with on right so we encourage you to join us in each episode, and we encourage you to use these techniques to live an intentional life, right?
Yep.
Let your life be intentional. You don't just let life happen to life. You
Mm-hmm.
be the person happening to life. Don't let life happen to you.
I
Take
like
control,
that.
take task. Okay, awesome. So we'll see you in the next episode. Until then, we
Mm-hmm.
say bye
Bye.
bye.
All right. Bye.